Welcome to Impatient History's The History of Telling Time, Episode 6. I'm the Impatient Historian. Several times in this series, you've seen and heard the abbreviations BC and AD. What do they mean, and where do they come from? BC stands for before Christ, that is, occurring before the birth of Jesus Christ. AD stands for Anno Domini, in the year of the Lord, or occurring after Jesus Christ was born. These days, people also use BCE, before the Common Era, and CE, Common Era. But how did it come about that we use these abbreviations in the first place, and reckon time based on the birth of Jesus Christ? The 3rd century Roman Emperor Diocletian persecuted Christians. The Alexandrian and Coptic churches instituted a dating system that began at the first year of his reign, and they referred to the years as AD, Anno Diocletiani, in the year of Diocletian. In AD 525, the scholar Dionysius Exiguus determined a new starting point for the Western calendar, the birth of Jesus the Christ. He retained the AD, but proposed it be replaced by the words Anno Domini, in the year of the Lord. The Anno Domini dating system began to spread in the 8th century thanks to the English scholar and monk, the Venerable Bede. Bede used the Anno Domini system to date events in his book, The Ecclesiastical History of the English People, or Historia Ecclesiastica Gentis Anglorum, since he wrote in Latin. From then on, this dating system spread throughout Europe and, over the course of many centuries, became standard. What about BC? In his book, Bede also used the phrase ante vero incarnationis Dominici tempus, before the time of the true incarnation of the Lord, using Christ's birth as a reference point for events that occurred before his coming, became more widespread beginning in the 17th century when the French theologian Petavius used the Latin phrase ante Christum. When use of the English language became more widespread, this was translated to before Christ and then shortened to BC. Also in the 17th century appears the first known use of the term Common Era to refer to events AD. At first, the phrase used was Aerae Vulgaris, since again scholars were writing in Latin. The designations CE and BCE came into more common usage in the 20th century. But let's get back to Dionysius. He was mistaken in his reckoning of Christ's birth, since Jesus was probably born between 6 and 4 BC. And finally, you might be aware that our method of reckoning goes from 1 BC to AD 1. There is no year 0. In the 6th century, when Dionysius began his system of reckoning time, people in the West used Roman numerals, which did not possess a 0. Therefore, the new age of the world began at AD 1. 0, which operates as a placeholder, entered the Western numbering system around AD 1200 with the introduction of Hindu-Arabic numerals. That's enough Latin and mathematics for one episode. We'll move on to astronomy and a bit more Latin in episode 7, when we discuss an astronomical approach to keeping time at night. For now, thanks for watching episode 6 of The History of Telling Time in the 2024 year of the Common Era of the Lord.